Stormreaver, a name forged in both victory and defeat when my ancestor House Venicius crushed the Storm Prince Torin Naelax at the battle of a fortnight's length some 700 years ago. Had Torin left his ancestral blade on its mantle, perhaps ours would have been given a different name. Lion Slayer, Prince Breaker, or some other fitting name. You see, held in Prince Torin's sheath was a sword called Stormbringer. Legend has it that nearly 300 years before the battle, House Naelax settled and founded the coastal city of Roland, a new home in new lands. Their first test was presented not by an army of men, but by the gods themselves. A great storm not seen in centuries brewed off the coast of Solnor, threatening their newly built city. House Naelax, the first Storm Prince, defied the gods and stood at the Bay of Gates with sword in hand. The dumb fool thought he'd defend his people by swinging his sword around in mid-air, shouting at the wind and rain. Just as the storm clouds approached, a loud thunderclap blasted where he stood, and a roaring boom swallowed him whole, leaving only the prince's blade where he once stood. It was forever named Stormbringer, and was wielded by every Naelax prince thereafter. Unfortunately for Torin, Vargo was strong, and his sword swung true. Torin was no match for the ruler of Mistwatch Keep, but killing the Storm Prince was not enough, and the kingdom of Neron fell to the kingdom of Aerde, a bitter glory for such a sound victory. Vargo should have celebrated that night with his king, drinking and singing songs of the great battle in drunken, mispronounced words. But instead, the last standing kingdom was absorbed into Aerde, cementing their legacy as the greatest kingdom the world had ever seen. Vargo's life was spared, and when he returned home after bending the knee to Aerde's Grand Prince Amor II, he reveled in the only victory he could take away from the battle, and named his sword Stormreaver, a mockery of Stormbringer, and a reminder to House Naelax that though their kingdom won the war, 'twas he and his sword which felled the Storm Prince Torin. I often wonder, what would happen should another storm decide to pass? Perhaps it would be a good time to rave once again.